Have you thought about opening your own restaurant, cafe, bakery, or club? Most of us want it, or have at least thought about it, isn't it? There is something about opening and managing a restaurant that makes us want to do it. Have you ever spent time and evaluated whether it makes sense from a business perspective or not? अगर कोई आपको आके ये बोले कि बिल्कुल ये बिजनेस करना चाहिए and do it right away, और या फिर ये बोले कि बिल्कुल नहीं करना चाहिए and do not burn your money. Friends, I found that expert. In fact, many experts who I've spoken with, through my research, you can get an answer to whether you should do this business or not. So let's dive right in. But before we do that, let me tell you that there's an interesting contest that I revealed towards the end of the video. So if you want to win a prize, make sure that you watch till the end and participate in the interesting quiz that is out there. Friends, glad to have you back on my channel. I'm Sarvesh Kanodia, and as you know, I've been an investor for more than a decade now, and I've evaluated hundreds of companies across different sectors. While each industry and a sector is different, the way to evaluate them is similar. Along with sharing what I learned from my research on the food services or the restaurant industry, I will also share with you a framework that you can use to evaluate any business idea. ताकि अगली बार आप कोई भी business idea पे research कर रहे हो, कोई नए sector के बारे में समझ रहे हो, you can use this framework to decide whether it makes sense for you or not. There are 7 key questions that you need to find answers to. Number 1, is there founder market fit? Number 2, is the industry attractive? Number 3, what is the business model like in the industry? Number 4, what are the regulations like? Number 5, what is the competition like and what is the implication of that? Number 6, how do you establish your right to win in the market? And number 7, what is the capital requirement and return in this business? इन सारे क्वेश्चंस पे डिटेल में बात करते हैं इन द कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ अ रेस्टोरेंट इंडस्ट्री. तो फ्रेंड्स, सबसे पहले पॉइंट के बारे में बात करते हैं विच इज फाउंडर मार्केट फिट. In this case, you need to figure out whether you are the right fit for the industry or not, given the dynamics of the industry and given your own skill sets and mindset. What is it about the industry and you that there is a strong match? So there are a few ways to figure out if there is founder market fit with respect to you and the industry or not. And the number one point is passion. This is perhaps also the most important factor. अगर आप passionate है कोई भी प्रॉब्लम के लिए तो उसका सोल्यूशन आप फिगर आउट कर लेंगे. तो अगर आप फूड सर्विसेज इंडस्ट्री में एंटर करना चाहते हैं तो अपने आप से पहले ये पूछिए कि क्यों करना चाहते हैं आप ये. If the answer is yes, then you will figure out a solution to the problem that you are looking at. Even if you don't have any prior experience, it would not matter as much. The second important point to determine founder market fit is prior experience. Friends, it's always better that if we start in an industry where we have prior experience. I'll give you an example of a new restaurant that was opened in 2020 called Hando's Pizza. Now the founder here, Kabir Murjani, had worked in the hospitality industry for 10 years before he started this venture. इससे वो अपनी learnings, relationships और network को लेके आ पाए and he could short circuit some of the initial challenges that he might have faced in starting Hando's Pizza. And as a result, in a short span of time, the brand is actually doing reasonably well. The third point which is important in determining founder market fit is the industry relevant skill sets. You might have worked in a different industry, but the skill sets that you have could still be relevant in the new industry that you're looking to enter. Now in the food services industry, there are 4 skill sets which are critical. Number 1 is running an operations heavy business. Number 2 is understanding of the real estate market. आपको लोकेशन और उस लोकेशन का कॉस्ट दोनों को ऑप्टिमाइज करना है. नंबर 3 इज मार्केटिंग स्किल्स. एट द एंड ऑफ द डे ब्रांड को प्रमोट करना बहुत ज़रूरी होगा, नो मैटर हाउ टेस्टी द फूड इज. एंड नंबर 4 इज द नेटवर्क एंड रिलेशनशिप्स. Do you know the right people in industry who can actually start working with you when you enter this industry? So there are 3 major factors that we've learned today which determines founder market fit. One is passion, second is prior experience in the same industry, and the third is industry relevant skill sets. Friends, of the 3, the most important one is passion for food. You can learn the other 2 either yourself or through others in your team. However, you cannot solve for passion. So if you're looking to enter this industry, first determine if you truly have passion for this business and then think about it accordingly. Now that we've established whether there is founder market fit or not, let's come to the second part of the framework. Is the industry attractive? Now when you look at the data, it is very clear that the industry has grown quite meaningfully over the last few years. Saturation doesn't seem on the horizon. But let's quantify this a little bit. So as per the food services and restaurant industry report, the industry was worth $40 billion or 3.28 lakh crore in 2020, which is expected to double by 2028. इस इंडस्ट्री ने लगभग 73 लाख लोगों को एम्प्लॉय किया था as of 2021, and this number is expected to increase to 1 crore people by 2025. Friends, by any measure, this is a large industry. A big trend that is also playing out in the sector is the movement from the unorganized to the organized market, which is जो mom and pop stores हैं उनसे market share निकल के जो large organized stores हैं उन पे market share जा रहा है, and which means that there are large companies that are actually getting built as a result. Now, when you look at the performance of some of these businesses, what is very evident is some of them are actually doing quite well. Their revenues have grown considerably over the period. Their margin and return ratios both look quite well. However, not all businesses will make money, and there's strong execution which is required to be able to do well in this business. We will cover a lot more of this later in the video. But friends, before we go there, let me tell you that I have prepared a list of key financial and return ratios for all these listed companies. If you are interested in getting that, please write to me in the comment section and I will send that across to you. So now that we've covered 2 points of our framework, which is whether there is founder market fit and if the industry is attractive, let's talk about the third point. What is the business model? Now, in the food services and restaurant industry, there are 3 kinds of business models. Number 1 is the QSR, quick service restaurant. Number 2 is FSR, which is full service restaurant. And number 3 is the cloud kitchen model. So to give you examples, Burger King, McDonald's, Domino's, all these are outlets which would be classified as a QSR. इनका फोकस ये है कि वे क्विकली फूड सर्विस करके आपको प्रोवाइड कर सके. यहाँ पे रेंज ऑफ ऑप्शंस हमेशा लिमिटेड रहेंगे, so that the experience, taste, recipe, etc. is similar across the chain. However, when you look at a full service restaurant, यहाँ पे मॉडल अलग होता है. यहाँ पे मेन्यू इज अ लॉट मोर एक्सटेंसिव. यहाँ पे फोकस ये है कि आप कैसे ज़्यादा टाइम स्पेंड कर सके एंड एज अ रिजल्ट कैसे ज़्यादा मनी भी स्पेंड कर सके. It is also often accompanied by alcohol, and depending upon the target segment, it could either be a multi-cuisine or a single cuisine restaurant. Finally is the cloud kitchen model. Now this has picked up significantly post-COVID. यहाँ पे एक रेस्टोरेंट का और रिटेल आउटलेट नहीं भी हो सकता है. They might just be operating out of a kitchen, and which actually help to keep the cost very low. Friends, when you are starting out, you have the option to start with any of these 3 options, which is a QSR, FSR or a cloud kitchen. Also, there's a possibility that you could do a combination of the two. You could start with an offline restaurant, which is, let's say, either a QSR or an FSR, and then add a cloud kitchen model on top. The other option is to actually start with the cloud kitchen model. This keeps your initial cost low, and depending upon how much success you are seeing, you can start with the offline model as well, which could again either be a QSR or an FSR depending upon how you want to build it out. The different strategy which is required for each of these business models, and we'll go into detail on that later in this video. So friends, हमने अपने 3 points cover कर लिए हैं framework के, which is there founder market fit, is the industry attractive, and then what is the business model. So let's come to 4th point as part of our framework, which is the regulation. Friends, whenever we are starting to think about a new industry, it is very important to understand what is the level of regulations in that industry, ताकि हमको ये समझ में आए कि फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल हम उसको मैनेज कैसे करेंगे. सो इन द कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ अ फूड सर्विस एंड रेस्टोरेंट इंडस्ट्री, there are different kinds of regulations depending upon the business model that you've chosen for yourself. So on the lower end of the range is a cloud kitchen model, जिसको actually start करना काफ़ी easy है from a regulatory point of view. There are only the few licenses that you see mentioned on the screen required to get started. However, on the other hand is a QSR or an FSR, जहाँ पे actually में ज़्यादा licenses की ज़रूरत होती है, which again you will see mentioned on the screen. So now that we've covered 4 points of the framework, let's talk about the 5th point, which is the competition. When we enter any industry, we need to understand what is the level of competition in that industry and what does it mean for a new player to enter. तो अगर आप एक food services और restaurant industry की बात करोगे, it is hyper competitive. The reason being is there is low barrier to entry. इसमें start करना काफ़ी easy है. However, what is difficult is actually to scale to be successful, because it is an operationally intensive business and all the other factors like we've discussed. Hence, any new player who is entering into the industry actually needs to learn from both the successes and the mistakes that the existing players have made and draft a strategy that could work for them. What you need to do is establish your right to win. And friends, this brings me to the 6th point in our framework, which is establishing your right to win. Now, in the restaurant and the food services industry, there are 9 key success factors that I have identified which are important to win in this space. But hang on. Should we reveal all the secrets today? आज थोड़ा different try करते हैं. What we will do is actually talk about the right to win and more on the industry in the next video. But friends, before we end, like I mentioned to you at the beginning of the video, there is an exciting quiz that we will play today. Like all my prior videos, I have a question for you. These success factors that I was referring to, which we will talk in more detail in our next video, what do you think these could be? इन 9 में से कोई भी 2, 3 या इवन 1 अगर आप सही गेस करते हैं तो आपको प्राइज़ मिलेगा. जो पहले 5 लोग हैं जो इसको सही गेस करते हैं, आई विल हैव एक्साइटिंग प्राइज फॉर देम विच आई विल अनाउंस इन द नेक्स्ट वीडियो. तो जल्दी से अपनी थिंकिंग कैप ऑन करिए और कमेंट सेक्शन में पोस्ट करिए. Mind you, you can only answer 3 success factors, but even if you get one of them right, you will get a prize. And the prize will only be open to 5 people who will be answering these first. So don't waste any more time. Quickly put your thinking hats on and type in the comment section. I will see you soon in my next video. Till then, stay happy and stay healthy.